Hey guys, this is Jamie Fox from Modern Day Fox. Today I am doing a double prep for you, and I'm just using my Instant Pot. It's going to be two different dishes that we're prepping, but we're going to kind of do it all at once, and then I'll show you how to divide it up. It's going to be spaghetti squash with bruschetta chicken and almost like a warm potato slaw with chicken and pesto and green beans. So it's going to be awesome, and I just want to show you how easy it can be to prep food with your Instant Pot, healthy food. Both of these dishes are grain-free, perfect for whatever diet plan that you are following or just healthy eating in general. So the first thing that we're going to do is take a spaghetti squash. Now, I don't know how much they cost in your area, but in mine, it's about 99 cents a pound. This little bad boy cost me about roughly $3.50. So we're going to cook this in our Instant Pot while we're prepping our other food. And you're going to cut it carefully without cutting your fingers off. It is a little tricky. You can microwave it for a few minutes if you want to soften it up. You can actually cook it in the skin if you want to do that as well. I've found that it cooks best when it's sliced in half. And it's not that hard to cut. It just takes a little bit of manpower. All right. So we're going to open it up like that, and hopefully you have sharper knives than mine. I have kind of an old set of knives. That's on my wish list to get some new ones. So now that we have it open, I'm just going to grab a spoon out of my drawer, and we're just going to dig the squash guts, as I like to call it, out. That's all the seeds and kind of that stringy stuff that's around the seeds. You can also save your spaghetti squash seeds and roast them just like pumpkin seeds. Now I have both of my spaghetti squashes halves cleaned out, and we're going to go ahead and get this started cooking. So I have this metal mesh steamer basket that I use. I got this off of Amazon. I'll link it up in the description of this video. Just put that inside your pot. Add a cup of water. And then I'm going to cook this for about 4 minutes. I've seen recipes online that call for 5 minutes. It gets a little mushy to me if it's that long. It really depends on the size of your squash. So I'm going to try this one at 4 minutes, and you kind of just want to stack them in there however you can make it fit. Put your lid on. Turn your valve to sealing. And then we're going to just hit the manual button that's high pressure. It's set on high pressure, and then just take it up to 4 minutes. So we'll let that cook. We're going to do about a 5-minute natural release, and then I'll release the rest of the steam, and our spaghetti squash will be done. Meanwhile, while that is cooking, we're going to go ahead and prep the things that will go in the pot next. I have a bag of organic green beans. If you don't want to use raw green beans, then you can get a steamer bag of green beans and just cook them in the microwave and throw them in at the end. That's a quick shortcut. But my husband told me he doesn't like those, so I got these fresh green beans here. I also have about 2 pounds of chicken tenderloins. And then I'm taking 2 shortcuts just to make it easy for you, especially if you're new to prepping and you get overwhelmed. You know, take a shortcut. I'm using classic basil pesto, and then I'm also using this tomato bruschetta. It's already made. I checked the ingredients before I bought it. It just has pretty much everything that I would use and not a bunch of added ingredients. You always want to make sure, like on the pesto, make sure that it's using an olive oil and not some, soybean oil or something that's not as healthy. So make sure. I'm going to wash my green beans. Put them in a strainer here. Give them a quick rinse. These are actually already pre-washed, but I think it's good to always wash your produce no matter what. Then I'm just going to snip off the ends here. Once you've done that, you're going to cut these into smaller chunks. Once prepped, just put them back off to the side, and we will use these in a little bit. The next thing we'll do is prep the chicken tenderloins. You can leave these whole if you want to, but I'm going to chunk them into smaller pieces just because I prefer my chicken not to be shredded. I like to have chunks of it. So again, this is fresh chicken tenderloins, and just cut them into chunks. Now that I have it chunked, I'm just gonna wash my hands and then we'll season the meat. I have some salt, pepper, and some oregano. Just gonna go ahead and put, a healthy portion of salt on there, some pepper, just season to your liking. This is Italian seasoning. Again, feel free to use a lot of that. Next I have some red potatoes. I have granite countertops, so I can cut right on my countertop, which is nice. But just gonna chunk the potatoes out into cubes here. And I just use about 5. You can use more if you want. But I wouldn't go past maybe 6 or 7. Now I have everything prepped for what's going in the pot. The only other thing that I will need is chicken broth. I make my own chicken broth, so I have that here. I'm going to need a cup of that. So I have my chicken prepped, I have my potatoes prepped, and I have my green beans. Now all I need is for my spaghetti squash to be done, and then I'll fill the pot again. All right, we're back, and I'm going to finish releasing the steam here. I actually let it go about 7 minutes. So it's the steam has pretty much run out. It's going to be really hot, so make sure that you have an oven mitt and let it cool before you start handling the squash. It will burn you. Now we'll quickly wash the pot out and get it ready for our next portion of our food prep. We have a clean pot, so we're going to put it back in here and get started on cooking the next batch. So the first thing that we'll do is put our potatoes in there. Next we'll put our green beans in there. Then we'll just go ahead and put our chicken right on top. And you do want your chicken on top because we're going to be removing some of this for the spaghetti squash dish. And then take 1 cup of your chicken broth and just pour it on in there. So we're going to put the lid on, turn it to sealing, and then we will set it to manual, and we'll do 8 minutes. And we will do a quick release. We don't want to get our potatoes too overcooked, so we're going to do a quick release. I'm going to go ahead and just use a fork and scrape out the spaghetti squash. It should just scrape right out. And honestly, I probably could have done 3 minutes and this would be fine, but no big whoop. You can see it just comes right out. And that's what it looks like. Almost like spaghetti. Now that I have the spaghetti squash in the bowl, I'm going to take my tomato bruschetta and I'm just going to open it. And I'm going to put half of the jar, not the whole jar, just half the jar. And this is a 12-ounce jar. Just going to put it right in there and stir it well. This is just going to flavor up your spaghetti squash. Spaghetti squash is very porous and it holds flavor really well. That's another reason I really like it. Just going to go ahead and distribute the spaghetti squash into each container. Now these are ready. All I have to do is add the chicken and these meals will be done. And there you see the chicken, the potatoes, and the green beans. The next thing that we're gonna do is take about half the chicken and we're gonna put it on top of the spaghetti squash.
What is that? Where's Thomas? Where's Thomas?
He's in the back.
Oh. I think he's over here.
He's in, yeah, in the bathroom.
Oh.
So, you know, just a few ounces of meat per meal. And then we're gonna take some of the bruschetta and just top our chicken. And no reason to save that, so.
What is that?
Next thing I'm gonna do is just carefully scoop this out. And the potatoes will be soft, and that's okay.
Can we get ice in it? Can we have ice in it?
Once you have it in the bowl, we're gonna go ahead and add the pesto. One thing that I did was, this pesto is really thick and it doesn't spread well, so I added just some more olive oil to it and then stirred it up, and that'll make it a lot easier to spread over the potatoes. You're just gonna just lightly toss, and a little bit of pesto goes a long way. So you don't really need a lot. I maybe only used like 1/4 cup total with the olive oil added in, so not very much. So that's what it looks like, and you're gonna go ahead and just carefully spoon it into your prep dishes and just make sure that your chicken is evenly distributed. And here is our finished product. We have 8 meals ready to go, all prepped in the Instant Pot. I hope you enjoyed this, and stay tuned to my channel and to my page to see more meal prep ideas in the Instant Pot and other health, lifestyle, and fitness tips. This is Jamie from Modern Day Fox. Thanks for tuning in.